Hey, Flex Fam, welcome back to another episode of Flex in the City. I'm Rada.
And I'm Lisa. This is episode 52. And today we have a special guest who is one of the co-founders of a hydration electrolyte drink called Plink. And we'll put some details about it in our description, but it was an incredible chat that we had. So stay tuned and let us know your thoughts.
So, big welcome to our guest today, Max Luthy from Plink. He is the co-founder of Plink, a joyful, low-sugar electrolyte tablet designed to make daily hydration easier and more sustainable and actually fun. Before launching Plink, Max worked in trends and innovation where he helped everyone from Disney, Spotify, Adidas, and the Dubai government prepare for the future. We need to hear a little bit more about that later. He started Plink as a dad trying to get his own family to drink more water without the waste of cans and bottles and turned it into a fast-growing brand, rethinking what everyday wellness can look like. So welcome to Flex in the City. We are so excited to have you here
Oh, it's an
today.
honor. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. So I think, first of all, for anyone who's just tuning in now, maybe you can give people just kind of like a little background about how Plink came about, what inspired it, and just a little bit more detail for them to really understand.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for having me. And in terms of the story of Plink, I had this really fun job. I worked for a trend forecasting firm called Trend Watching, and we used to track innovation across every category, from fashion to automotive to media and entertainment, to travel. And then we would kind of connect the dots with those innovations and then present them back to other professionals and say, look at the way all of these innovations are changing what your customers or users will expect from you in the future. And a lot of the work I was doing, as you can imagine, a decade ago, was very much focused on sustainable innovation. And it was really exciting. Like, we all as a team just loved it. We were super passionate about it. When a corporate campus would ban plastic straws, we'd put that into our presentation and be like, look, even Goldman Sachs is getting rid of plastic straws. That if when there was a credit card that tracked your carbon footprint launched, we were, imagine what this could mean for your business. You may recall, Adidas partnered with Parlay. They were going to clean all the plastic out of the ocean and put it into sneakers. Like, it was a very exciting time in terms of sustainable innovation. And while that was also happening, like, I was 10 years into this gig of telling Frito-Lay or Pepsi or the Dubai government what I thought would happen next. And you started to get the itch to do my own thing and was desperate to start a beverage company. I'm passionate about beverage brands. There's just something about them, I think, because they're social, they bring people together, they're kind of lifestyle, cultural. I knew I wanted to start a beverage company, and something was holding me back. I remember looking into my recycling bin, and this is peak LaCroix era, if you remember, when all of a sudden LaCroix was just everywhere. Every hip office, everybody was crushing through LaCroix. It came out of nowhere. And I was just like, this is quite wasteful, I also had young kids, and they do that thing where they crack one open and leave the whole can on the counter.
Of
Like, oh my
course.
God.
Poor.
Yeah. Every parent knows that. Like, why did you open? So I think that was bothering me. Maybe the frustrated parent side, but also the environmental waste. So all of these things are swirling around. And then in the middle of the night, I sat up in bed, like bolt upright in bed, and started WhatsApping a best friend. It's a bath bomb you can drink called Plink. You drop a tablet into water, low packaging, low carbon footprint, delivered by subscription, packed with wellness benefits, and went back to sleep. And thankfully, when I woke up, that friend texted me, I love the idea. Instead of like, why are you texting me at 2 a.m.?
That's how you know it's a real friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Why exactly? Why
Friends that support your middle of the night dreams.
yeah,
That's a good friend.
It's why I knew to text him. Shout out to Nick Bell. Yeah, he and his business partner Toby spent a few years riffing with me. The brand name was very sticky for them, and they both work in this world. And they, in early COVID, when my trend forecasting job happened to get nailed by COVID, said, we found a co-founder for you. and introduced me to my partner, Luke, who had the hands-on experience of launching a beverage company. He'd built a kombucha brand before.
Oh, yeah, like, I definitely can understand, child or your children's behavior becoming a great motivator for innovation and
Yeah.
for ideas. Because yeah, there's definitely things that I'm like, "Why doesn't this exist?" when the kids do something, so yeah, I can definitely relate there, but it's amazing that you managed to bring that to fruition and produce something that, as you said, is sustainable. And you had this wealth of research and understanding already from what you had done before. So it's almost like it was such a natural progression to do something because you could see where the gaps were, you could see where the need was, and now you've produced a product that meets that.
Can can you share that interesting fact that you shared with us while we were like when we first met, where you talked about the biggest polluters, like one of are the top three, what was it?
Yep, the Coca-Cola, Nestle, and PepsiCo were the top three. So a group called Break Free from Plastic organized these volunteer kind of beach cleanups and river cleanups, and then the people who pick up the waste essentially identify the sources of the waste, and then it's these beverage companies are typically the top of the pile. I think every now and then a sort of Unilever or Procter and Gamble will sneak in there because they'll have those big detergent bottles or shampoo bottles. But yeah, it's there's a lot of greenwashing from these beverage companies. As we all know, just the idea that these products get recycled. The plastic bottles are, a very small portion of them are successfully recycled, and you can only do that a certain number of times anyway. So
Right.
for me, it was, and we also had all convinced ourselves that the aluminium cans were perfect because they're infinitely recyclable, which is cool. But again, for me, the carbon footprint, like, the other trend I was seeing, I worked in New York, and more so than Europe, you could just see people took their reusable bottles wherever they went, right? It was a real status symbol.
Mhm.
There were different trendy bottles, and this has continued since I first spotted this, but it's not, 1 year it's Stanley's, then it's Awala's, all the rest of it. And so the other thing was, hang on, we're all carrying around our own water bottles. We all have, pure, or at least many of us are fortunate enough to have filtered water at our homes, offices, gyms, college campuses, airports. The idea of paying a beverage company to fill a plastic bottle or a metal can with water and then drive it to a warehouse, and then from the warehouse to the store, and from the store to my home
Mhm.
seems really wasteful. And that was like, once you get fixated on something like that, you can't let it go. But I would say, it's a blessing and a curse. The kind of confidence I had from my trend forecasting days, what we didn't see in the trend world was actually that the sustainability, the sort of push towards sustainable innovation wasn't a one direction vector, right? It was susceptible to receding as a trend. And actually, we saw that, right? With COVID, I think all the people who were celebrating the banning of plastic straws were all of a sudden putting on plastic gloves to go to the grocery store and wearing masks and disposable masks. And we all just,
That's themselves.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I
yeah.
mean,
And understandably, when your family's well-being and health and well-being is under grave threat of danger, like worrying about the sea turtle choking on a plastic glove is not at the forefront for
Coordinate.
people.
yeah, it
Yeah.
moves down in the
Sorry, turtles.
priority
Yeah.
priority list. Um,
Yeah, that's understandable. But I think, yeah, that's really great to be able to understand not just the trends that are happening with regards to like consumerism, but also trends of human behavior like that. The
Mhm.
fact that human beings are going to maybe ascribe to a certain trend for a period of time, and then it's going to maybe turn into something else. And what kind of factors would contribute to that change or to the switching of priorities in that list or in that hierarchy. So again, it's such valuable knowledge to have coming into this. And COVID as well was such a spanner in the works. It was such a game changer for so many
It was.
businesses, families, just even on an individual level. Like it was just even thinking back to it, I'm like, did we actually go through
it's
that?
just
Is this
a
such a
blur.
real?
Honestly, I can't even
It's
Yeah,
wrap my
unbelievable.
brain around it
It's,
I
anymore.
it's unbelievable, and I think my co-founder likes to point this out. One of the blessings of it. was that it showed us that a lot of the status quo, a lot of the systems we assumed were immovable, were actually could be completely upturned. You know, the whole idea that you had to commute an hour in and an hour home, you
Yeah.
know, 5 days a week, like that was decades and decades and decades ingrained into our society, and now it's been overturned. And yes, there's been a
Thank
return
God.
to
So
office.
grateful that's changed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
you can't even fully remember what it felt like to work from an office every single day. Like it's
Yeah,
neat to think back to that. I'm like, that's how we worked most of our careers, our corporate careers. And I'm like, how? Because
yeah. I mean,
we're
it was almost one of the yardsticks. It was 100% one of the yardsticks we used was like, what time do people get to the office and how late do they stay as well, right? Do you remember that? You would kind of you'd notice
first in,
the
last out.
recruit. Yeah, you'd notice the recruit was. You'd be like, that they seem to go home a little earlier than me every single day. You know?
It was like an unspoken sort of like understanding. I know that in like my line of work that it was like, well, coming in early, you get an early start, and it's nice
Mhm.
people committed to not leaving at 5 o'clock. And I was like, so you're basically telling us you want us to be first in and
The
last out.
early bird gets
So,
the worm,
and I'm like,
that's
but
it.
that is not even really a measure of productivity or efficiency. I could be sitting at work, making playlists all day.
Oh yeah,
Which I started doing towards the end of my career. Well, I realized it's time to maybe change careers. But
yeah.
yeah, so I mean, it was just crazy that there were these metrics that we put so much importance on that again, COVID and being able to work from home made us realize, yeah, it's not really a measure of productivity at all. Cause I mean, I found I worked better from home actually, because I wasn't as social. I wasn't answering the phone. I wasn't talking to the person walking past my desk and
Mm,
could just focus and have this window of time. So
I found the opposite. I mean, I
yeah.
actually miss, and I think there's one thing that came for me was that, okay, I don't need to be working 9 to 5 in an office, but I think there's an element of community and socializing and not being isolated and it not always being just about you, which I think is something that we talked about with you is that COVID kind of made everyone kind of turn inwards and only
mhm,
focus on themselves. And I
yeah.
think we lost a bit of that. Okay. And so you see that with certain things that have now evolved from that, where it's like, I don't need to go to the office. I'll just work from home,
Mm,
you
Yeah.
know? So there's certain things like that, those little nuances where I think,
yeah.
no, I can appreciate those things because it wasn't just every man for them or woman for themselves. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
there
And
was
it
still this
also,
element of community.
and to your point about the driving focus on our own selves, you know, the wellness industry, which was already this macro trend,
Yeah.
you know, we would talk about trends within wellness and how it was adapting, and we talk in the same way we would about sustainability. So like different sort of sub trends within this big theme. And what was really unexpected for me was how, as sustainability receded in importance, that, you know, wellness just went to the forefront, right? And so it's, you know, it started off with more traditional supplements and things, people being like, hang on, well, what can I do for my immune system? And just crushing through vitamin C. You know, like I had a client, one of my last clients was Church and Dwight, who make, you know, they have lots of VMS products like vitamins, and
Mhm.
they were just, it was like printing money. People were just, I've got to get my kids on multivitamins. And obviously we've been through in the last 5 years, you know, there's all manner of new products and supplements that have entered the sort of mainstream. And I think COVID was a real turning point there, like a real accelerant.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I think even just beyond the supplementing point of view, just the way people thought about fitness and health.
Fitness. Yeah.
It's become well, one, we realized I don't need a gym membership to be able to stay fit. So you had these people who were transforming their bodies from their living rooms,
Right.
and you had coaches who now had to diversify how they're or their offering or how they're presenting themselves. And that was a whole market that opened, but also just this um I think alongside that whole kind of like, "Oh my gosh, how can I stay healthy and not get sick?" was also this feeling of like, "Okay, well, what is a lifestyle that I can adopt that is gonna give me that sort of longevity moving forward so that if there's another unforeseen event,
Mm,
I'm ready
Ready
and
and equipped.
I'm living in
strong.
a way that's, not just the environment is sustainable, but I'm also sustainable in how I live." And yeah, and so then you find, people becoming more, I guess, attuned to a lot of like fitness trends, some helpful,
Yeah.
maybe some not so much, but just this culture of, okay, well, I need to eat right, I need to drink the right things, I need to consume water. People have these 4-gallon water bottles that they're now saying I need to consume it by the end of the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
I'm
I
still
love those.
able to do that. That's crazy. But and people saying, oh, X amount of days a week, ice plunges. And so all of
Yeah.
these things have happened to create this culture that evolved from what it was before. And then that's also kind of evolving. And so like you as a trend watcher, how do you looking at sort of where we came post COVID with that whole like and
Yeah.
to where we kind of are now? Are we kind of settling into a more relaxed approach, or do you foresee that heading in a different direction?
I think it's been really interesting. Like I said, I'm even as someone whose job was to sort of anticipate these things, I'm still blown away by how big wellness is and it's just
The
growing. It's one of
monster.
those. It's a monster, yeah, and it's just it surrounds us, and just and there's a lot of benefit from that as well, and we can speak to some of the downsides too. But I think one of the big shifts is I used to a lot of supplements or routines or workouts, etc., we associated with like hardcore athletes, whether or not that was professional athletes or people who that was really a big piece of their identity. And, I certainly didn't see myself as a gym bro or like a hardcore runner or any of this stuff. It felt like, oh, that's something hardcore runners do or hardcore athletes do or like bodybuilders do. And, a lot of products have gone from those niches to the mainstream. And hydration's a really interesting example. It went from electrolytes were for athletes to replenish what they sweat out to this shift towards people realizing they were great for hangovers, right? This sort of Pedialyte and liquid IV boom. It's like, I think, driven by hungover bridesmaids. I remember being at a wedding
Love that.
like 5 years ago and seeing it was like the best man or something, and he had like cigars in one hand.
It's a movie, you mean?
No,
real
like
life.
Oh, like in real life. Okay.
yeah, real bridesmaids.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had like cigars in one hand and a thing of liquid IV in the other hand, like for the after party. And this was like 5 years ago, and now that would be completely normal, but it was one of the first times I'd seen it. So
Oh my God.
hydration, yeah, but
And that's
hydration,
actually a bigger market. Hungover people,
yeah,
much bigger
Yeah.
than the elite athlete market. So
Ag- agreed. I mean, well, I think so. What happened was you had some of these products that were very sports based, then they were like situational, so hangovers or jet lag or travel sickness. And then you had a lot of people who used these products and found that they felt better from daily use. And so I would say many of the categories within wellness have gone from, niche to situational to daily. And, to make hydration a part of your daily routine, which is something we do. I'll Plink now.
oh.
You have a Plink cup also.
Oh yeah, I've got branded Plink cup.
Oh my God, that's
Well, I love it. It
awesome.
looks kind of like
a
almost
like a can.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
a
it does. It
yeah.
does. That's intentional.
well done.
Yeah, it's a good cup.
And actually,
Works for
You
ice.
just like then you
you
just
notice
like did it. Actually,
went Plink.
you just need a cover then for it, and then it'll really look like a little,
I know. I probably
like a
should
so
have.
that you can travel with it.
Yeah, with the straws, they
right.
make those as well. I
There
don't
you
know. I
go.
don't know how I haven't thought of that yet. Thank you for the suggestion. Yeah, they
You
make
got
them.
it.
Yeah, I'll send you the royalties.
Yes, please do.
But to make to
Remember
make
Flex
some.
in the city in this moment.
Oh yeah, this is a true innovation.
And then you
Yeah,
can have a glass straw that goes through a hole at the top. Okay, I need to stop. All right.
no, it's genius that they do make those. I don't know why I haven't paired them with our product. I
There you
think
go.
I'm not much of a straw guy, but I know a lot of people are like
Yeah, well,
hardcore straw people.
I don't like straws because they cause wrinkles, so that's why I don't do. Yes. Yeah, like it's the same with like smoking wrinkle, like and where you always doing this movement, you're gonna.
I do it because if you have makeup on, I just don't want to like attack the whole glass.
Mama doesn't want wrinkles.
Okay. No taste.
Are you gonna start like IVing your fluids so that you don't have to
There
use
you
your
go.
face muscles?
Nothing
Almost like
moves.
that. I
Nothing
situation is looking better and better all the time.
Yeah. I feel like I've stopped smiling. I don't smile
Yes.
anymore.
No
Yeah.
smiling.
No, we just laugh on the inside.
I love that you touched on the whole how, wellness at some point was targeted towards the gym buffs and then it became situational. Like now, I guess we could honestly say now, today, that wellness is something that's accessible and for
Yeah.
everyone. Can we say that?
I think so. I think the bright side of what's happened is it's a big tent now. It's not, you don't, you don't have to be like, they use the phrase middle-aged men in lycra for like hardcore male cyclists. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
That
It's
is
That's a
hilarious.
visual. I have a visual now.
I've never
mammal.
heard that before. That is
Yeah. So it's an acronym for mammal. So you say like, yeah, a lot of the electrolyte products were for mammals, right? And you kind of pictured that guy with it in his desk, and he's kind of the eccentric guy who cycles to work every day, whatever the climate is.
Yeah.
And you that's not for me, it's for him. And now it's actually like everybody in the office is familiar with these products, and this, protein's kind of going through the same transformation. And these things can get taken to extremes.
Mm.
Protein is certainly heading that direction, but it went from something that bodybuilders paid attention to, like, are they getting enough protein, to it's on every single product in the store now. It's how many grams of protein per serving. And the US is the US is a crazy market to, like, if you grew up in Europe, it's just wild out here. Like, the innovation is crazy, and in a good way, but also sometimes you cannot believe like the things that people are putting protein into and the different flavors.
And the different methods people are trying to meet their macros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think protein is in everything now, right? Like you'll find it literally in every
Bread, pasta.
donut.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Dunkin' Donuts pushing protein is like a very confusing time.
That for me is
That's mad.
wild.
That's like the cheat plays. That's where, macros, all of this goes out the window. You go to D&D and it's like
You
just
just
to
wanna-
like run amok.
I mean, what can they like? I don't even know how they would do it. Like, what are they? They're mixing it in the glaze in the donut. Like for me, it doesn't make
Have you tried their protein donut?
Ah, that's such a good challenge. What?
Challenge.
I'll say no. I'm going to take it as a challenge. I will
Report
do it
back
and I'll
then
report
tell us.
back. Yeah.
I'm so
curious.
I mean, I definitely test these products. Like I bought Bloom is a huge wellness company in the US. And
they do a lot of like supplements and
yeah. She started with, I think, greens, like an athletic greens type product. And then she's got it now. She has an energy drink, and I bought her creatine gummies off of a TikTok shop, and it was impressive. They were phenomenal. Like they tasted, just like candy, like Skittles or Nards, like just really big candy like flavors. That kind of happens a lot in the wellness space in the US as well. Is just these really, really big candy like flavors. It's
catering to the sweet tooth. Yeah, because I mean, you still have this, even though the mindset has shifted. I think like taste buds are still like, we like our sugar, we like our fizzy drink. We know we shouldn't drink it anymore, but give me something still makes me feel like I'm getting the same experience. And
exactly.
Yeah.
So we try to deliver on that without like going too hard, right? We have a lightly carbonated beverage. It's big fruit flavors. It's very refreshing. It has to be something you look forward to. When these products first were being adopted, it was okay that they didn't taste good because it was something you had because you needed it, right?
Yeah.
And for Plink to succeed, it needs to be something you have because you want it, like you crave it, like that afternoon seltzer.
Yeah.
And I was so happy to see when we surveyed our repeat customers last year, 55% of the time that our repeat customers are having a Plink, they're saying they would have been having a canned or bottled beverage instead of it. So we have succeeded as well in really reducing people's consumption of canned and bottled beverages.
Bravo.
Very, very well.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
So good. Um, I'm curious, how did you go through your testing for the flavors? Like, did you sit there and try all these different flavors, or did you have ideas in your mind already what would work? Or
My
did you trial and
yeah, my
error them?
my co-founder Luke Montgomery Smith was an award-winning kombucha brewer. He had a kombucha brand with his wife, and at the time they were partners. They hadn't married yet, but so he has a really great palate and a sense for what will make a good flavor combination. And I think we did some research, and we saw it's already changed in the 5 years since we started working on it, but at
Really?
the time, like, a lot of the products were called things like tri-berry or citrus flavor. Like, the hydration brands weren't really trying that hard, and so Luke was like, what if we do a pomegranate and a blackberry pairing? I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's the one that I can see in
Yeah.
the background there, and I'm like, ooh,
I see
Yeah.
the watermelon
I
too.
pomegranate.
Yeah, the watermelon's
Well,
good.
I'm
Pineapple,
all about the watermelon.
I'm like, pomegranate.
pineapple, grapefruit.
Giving.
Pineapple grapefruit.
Yeah, do you remember Lilt? The drink Lilt? Did you ever have that? It's like a
No, I've
Jamaican.
never heard of that.
Jamaican
I heard you
soft drink.
talk about it on on a podcast, but I've never heard of it.
Yeah, he was inspired by this kind of Caribbean soft drink called Lilt in the UK. I don't know the full story a lot, but yeah, he just pushed our partners to. We worked with a flavor lab in the UK first of all, and that blew our minds that we were like, wow, you can do phenomenal powdered flavors. It was really funny because it was COVID. He was living in Sweden, or potentially on a houseboat on the Thames, I think, and I was living in Vermont. Yeah, it was really wild, and we were shipping these little baggies of white powder across
Oh
across
God.
the ocean. Yeah, like just big boxes of Ziplocked in silver packs, like foil packs, and it was
Not dodgy at all.
Oh,
yeah, it was. I'm amazed when I travel with this. When I have suitcases full of Plink, I'm amazed I don't get.
You don't get stopped. Don't try this at home, kids.
seriously.
Yeah. But he pushed our partners, and I think a lot of it was flavor kind of encapsulation technology and the kind of freeze drying of, like, it's gotten better and better. Like, they can make. That's part of the reason I think these wellness products, a lot of them are taking off, is they can make them taste so good now. And he just pushed our category to new heights. And then I think there is a whole section of consumers out here who were not going to be quite sweet enough or loud enough. Like, if you're drinking a Monster energy drink or a lot of pretty wide.
I can't even.
Yeah, I mean, if you're drinking the Dunkin' Donuts Coolata and then you have Plink, it's not going to taste very sweet.
I
Like,
didn't
it's
used
just.
to be a coffee colada person in my
You got the Coolata.
I was like 19.
Yeah. That was around when I think I tried my first Coolata. They had a lot of ad campaigns, right? So
Yeah, the ads were really good, and you were like, "That's not my thing, but I'm gonna try."
yeah, we did that, and I think my cousin threw up after her first Coolata.
Really?
That would have.
Yeah,
That would have.
Did you never have it?
No,
Oh my God,
I can't that sweet and like too much sweetness.
I was such a sweet tooth in college. It was the Coolata, and then I used to, because I was a broke college student, I used to go. There was the Dunkin' Donuts down the hill, and they used to have like the munchkins, like the donut holes.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, they would just give them away for free because they can't
They're sale
for the next day. So I'd be like, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then I'd head down there,
Boom.
buy the Coolata.
Well, now
Get
they've
my
got
donut
protein in
hole.
them.
And yeah, I don't know what was happening to my insides, but thank God I managed to.
Yeah. Yeah. You look remarkably well for somebody.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I don't know. There's something there that was like, please, just hold it together. So luckily, I saw the light before
It was too
the
late.
darkness got too dark.
Yeah, I think in your 20s you can process a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just I think that's a testament to the resilience of the human body, and not necessarily to our ability to be able to keep consuming this stuff. But certainly it's good to know, because I know for me, drinking water is a struggle. Drinking enough water is a struggle. And what I might do even now still is just add a bit of apple juice into it and drink it, which is extremely sweet. And then I have to make sure I buy the right type of apple juice because this one is like artificial and this one has too much sweetener. And so like the thought of something that like is also giving me the electrolytes I need, but easy. And you don't need to stir it or anything, right? I think I just saw you like, and
Yeah.
good to go.
Yeah, no stirring, no shaking. It takes a little bit longer to dissolve than a powder, which is instant, but there's no sediment. Yeah, it's funny. Like I'm addicted to it. My wife's addicted to it. It's like, and one of my favorite things as well is like 77% of our users share it within their household. So it's more social, right? I think some of the products out here, you're not really like you're buying your element, for yourself after
Right.
And it
that's
brings
like
back
your stash.
that community
cohesion and the family.
community element is back with with this product, which
I
I
really
love.
like that as well because then if it's something that you could just kind of plink, 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 like drop for
Yeah.
everybody in the family.
We're all
Exactly.
plinking tonight.
Yeah.
Like it's
Especially also because, like, as a parent, I can't have a drink that looks like a fun color and
And-
my kids not have the same
Yeah.
thing. The
Yeah.
world will end.
yeah.
So if it's something that they can drink too and like
Mhm.
we keep the peace, that's amazing. And it's
It
just
is. And
Yeah.
it takes up less space as well. So, I mean, I was thinking purely from sustainability, but just from a convenience perspective, right? Like one of our,
it looks like you took it right out of the box as part of the background.
oh, I see it, did it?
cool.
Yeah.
It looks like you were like,
Yeah, I mean, that's the size of a drink can, right?
oh,
And
right.
You could fit like 14, 15 units in one thing. So for a parent as well, if you're grabbing cases of LaCroix or drinks for your children or your family, this is quite a relief to just have a stash of Plink in the pantry, and you could, know. Do you both have kids?
Yes, I have 3 boys, and she's got
Nice.
2 boys. So
Nice. Oh wow, ton of boys.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I know that I'm always telling them drink water, drink water, drink water. Like for me, I love water. Like I'm the opposite of you. Like I have a really, you see me how like I've
Yeah.
always got like a glass is finished and then I have the next one ready to go.
I hate it, but I do it.
Could be early onset diabetes. I don't know, but they say
Is
you
that a
drink
sign of diabetes? I don't know.
I don't know.
I hate it, but I'm just now in my older age, I'm more of the mindset of like, I don't care what it tastes like. If it's good for me, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So I try to force it down, but yeah, any chance I get to kind of a little bit to make it taste a bit better. I love that you said that it's like mildly fizzy because that for me can be a game changer. Also because here, when you ask for fizzy water in Germany,
Mhm.
it's like chewing static. It's so overly carbonated.
Unreal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really just you're not going to be able to just glug it. So,
Interesting.
I mean, they have a version that's low fizz, but it's still not.
But
Going
Plink
hard
would
on the
do
carbon
really well
dioxide.
here because
Plink
it's
would-
carbonated. Like they
love
love their carbonated water here.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
Gas.
mit gas.
Mid gas, yeah.
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 So
Yeah, I think the mark, and also people are very much about like that health conscious kick, of course, is very much here, especially in Munich, but it's also just, yeah, it doesn't need to taste like sugar. If it's good,
Mm.
it's good for me. I'll,
yeah,
and
Yeah,
so
and
that's, yeah.
which is a difference.
there's an Austrian brand who launched before us called Water Drop. Yeah.
Oh yes,
No, it's okay.
I've seen that
Yeah.
in the drugstores. Yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
Ruda in them.
Okay.
I didn't
Yeah,
know
and
they were Austrian.
they have a slightly, I would say lighter, more European style flavor. So even though I said we're like on the lighter end of the US flavor spectrum, they're
Palates is different.
a shade lighter as well. And
Yeah.
I think it was probably interesting for them because they've got pretty solid footprint across Europe. And I think when they came out to the US, I'm sure that was probably hard for the team to reformulate and adjust to the different taste profile out here.
Man, yeah. That's a good point, actually.
Is Plink in Europe at all anywhere?
It's not. It sort of kills us. We really we could have made life a lot easier for ourselves and launched in the UK, but first, and then spread through Europe. But we decided to launch in the US. We felt the opportunity was bigger here. you know, and the sort of the just the beverage, the sort of functional beverage market is just it's a really innovative country. You know, I know I occasionally make fun of some of these products that come out here, but it's one of the things I love about the culture here is people are wildly inventive, and you know, it's just, this is the land of, oh, you like chocolate, you like peanut butter, we put them together. You know, you like popcorn, you need more protein, we've made protein popcorn and
Protein
got a
popcorn.
Kardashian behind it.
I do miss that about
That
it a
is
little bit.
that is true.
Yeah. It's like the box is here. America is all
It's
here and
it's
making
trends. It's trends in overdrive, I feel, and I guess that would then apply
And
also
creating
in
as well.
in wellness. That it also carry into the wellness world.
Yeah, they run with it,
Yeah.
which is, I mean, it could be a double-edged sword, but yeah, it's certainly something that creates for a really interesting market.
It does.
Mm. Mm. All right. Well, I mean, I still think there's a market for it in Europe. So
Me too.
Yeah. No, I want to. I need to figure it out. I need to work out how to launch Plink in Europe. It's on my bucket list, so it'll happen. It's just when.
Okay.
You mentioned something about sort of this like you know, this bro
Yes.
culture and
The gym bros.
yeah,
Yeah.
and again we sort of how that's shifted with supplementing and with you know, counting macros, etc. But we had an episode a couple of weeks back, I don't remember which one it was, and we've done discussions on this for a while, just about what we call gymtimidation, and just
Gymtimidation.
though we are moving towards a culture that is more wellness aware and people wanting to do more and sort of trying to be more inclusive, etc., you still come across a lot of these very, I don't know, like niche is not the word, but just very like
Tribes.
yeah, and like things that are almost off-putting, and like, I mean, I teach Pilates, and there's like this quintessential Pilates princess thing, and there's sort of this idea. A friend of mine actually asked me just last week because he was like, "Well, like I know you teach Pilates and all that," and he's like, "But I want to start it, but like, what are you doing? Isn't it just like rich moms who are, you know, wanting to do something before they go to brunch?" And I'm like, "No, but
Yeah.
gets a bad rep." But yeah, and so like, and I understand that that's, you know, there's sort of this persona, and that can even be a form of gym intimidation, because I know from the point of view of a lot of women, they're like, I'm not going to go to Pilates because there's this idea that I have to look a certain way, my outfit has to match, I have to, you know, be a certain body type and all of these things. So, and I know certainly from a weight training background, same thing for both men
Mhm.
and women, where there's an expectation of that. And so two questions on that front. As someone who watches trends and sort of has an eye, have you
Mhm.
seen that trend, as people become more wellness aware, have you seen that trend is going to become worse, I guess, like more of these little tribes, or do you see that sort of relaxing and genuinely becoming something that is more inclusive and I guess more realistic?
Yeah. I think you have both things happening at once. Like you know, I believe, like, we as human beings, like, we're drawn to tribes, and I think so. You'll always have this instinct to kind of, and it's satisfying for us to say, okay, you know, I run, therefore I wear this hat and buy these sneakers and use these products. But so I think you'll see those niches, the sort of, you know, even in my town in Vermont, there's like you can kind of tell who does Nordic skiing, you know, cross country, because of probably their body shape, but also the hats they wear, the jackets they wear. It's the downhill
Their
skiers.
hat.
And
Yeah,
they
it's
walk
like,
around with the sticks, I'm sure, also. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Well,
yeah.
it's also just the mountain
I didn't
biker.
know there was a hat.
Often there's overlap. So I think sometimes the tribalism isn't necessarily a bad thing, because it's like, hey, I'm part of this group, and you can make friends and have a sense of community.
And you
Right,
need
right.
that. Like, if you look back in time, like, you needed those communities for survival, you know? So,
Exactly.
and you still need them. Like, that hasn't changed. But I think just the types of communities is what has changed, you know?
The types of communities changed. And then I also think the internet has allowed us all to get a window into tribes that, like, you couldn't get you didn't know what happened in strength training until you stepped into a gym, right? You had to go to the gym, and then you'd be kind of terrified. Everyone was bigger than you. You didn't know how to do it without throwing your back out. Like it was, whereas now it's like you said, I do tons of different like YouTube people. I have different people on YouTube I do workouts with. I do yoga on YouTube and I do strength training on YouTube. And there are two things I've barely done in the studio. Both of those, barely, like handful of times. So
What,
I
sorry
think it's,
to cut you off in that answer, what turns you off from going to a studio to do that?
I'm sure part of it is like time, as a parent with like 3 young kids and just it's, you know,
Three
if I
kids.
don't,
You guys,
Wow.
legends.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, 3
That's
kids,
cool.
exactly. Yeah, it's, you know, waking up and doing like dragging out the yoga mat, even that sometimes is like a 30 minutes of doing a workout is like, you know, my partner even sometimes is like, do you really have time to be doing that? But most of the time we give each other that space. If I was driving to the gym and then working out for an hour and then driving back, it'd be harder to fit in. So there's partly convenience, but I think just it's probably my own hangover from when I grew up and thought, like I said earlier, I thought people who lifted weights were like in the rugby A team, right? I was in the rugby C team. Like I was not the best rugby player.
Mhm.
And it was sort of after I did some strength training and stuff in college, but again, it was kind of that's for that person. I'm not that person, you know? And I never really got over that. And you know, I think I am now, but somewhat over it. But yeah, it's interesting.
It's still kind of there. And yeah, and that's kind of the reason behind why I asked the question is because I feel like even though mindsets are shifting and we are sort of understanding like inclusion and we're understanding that all of this is for everybody and we actually truly genuinely believe that a lot of the habits like the hangover of our sort of fitness foundation and how we thought,
Yeah,
especially for us
jocks and
millennials.
nerds.
Yeah, yeah, we've come about of age in a time when things have changed. So, yeah, we kind of have this like indelible mark of like, yeah, but I remember kind of what it was like, and it's not really my thing. And so, like that, I feel like kind of remains, even though our minds open, and even though opportunities open. And so, I'm just curious as to like overcoming that. And I ask because I feel that sometimes even myself.
That's
Even
crazy that you feel that
even
because
as someone who
you were
teaches
in
Pilates,
that's
yeah,
your world.
I don't have the quintessential Pilates physique necessarily. And so like, yeah, I still find myself sometimes being like, "Ooh, well, does this make me legitimate for what it is that I'm trying
Mhm.
to provide as a product to these people?" Or and so you have those moments of doubt. So I think, yeah, it's interesting to think about the trends changing, but like almost like trends might change, but still the
There's
mindset
gonna
might
be
The
takes a
mindset
little longer to catch up. If
because
that makes sense.
there's gonna
everything changes so quickly. It's like literally at the speed of light. So even if and you see with technology and all that, like it's changing so rapidly that we can't keep up with it, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that affects
Our
everything.
kids are a testament to that. They just learn
yeah. I
new
mean,
phrases
but
every day and
just the nature of the
The
gym and
lingo.
some of these sports though, that like running the gym, a lot of these things, the reality is they are really transparent about how you perform, right? So it's like if you run slower than the other people in the run club, they literally get further away from you, right? Or
is
if you
it
finish a
funny?
marathon, everybody knows your time. If you go to the gym, you can see they're lifting more than you. You can see their body is a different shape than yours. It's very transparent. Like there's a lot of things we don't. Imagine if when you cooked, you went into a communal kitchen and everybody made a quiche Lorraine at the same time. And you kind of could see, well, like your quiche looks really shitty and their quiche looks phenomenal. And this person crushes it almost like Great British Bake Off, right? That's
Yeah.
kind of, I think it's hard to separate that from a lot of, you know, physical activity
That's
is
such a good point.
the sort of the like performance is very transparent, like how you're performing. And so it's hard.
Right.
I think it's great that there are run groups, run clubs out there or gyms out there that try to say, you know, and my YouTube coaches are always telling me it's okay if you're not lifting the same weight as me.
Right.
Bless. Important, very important. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think what we've talked about is that community aspect. And I think that's really what draws people to
Mhm.
fitness is just that feeling that, you know, I feel like I belong to something. And as soon as that starts to shift, then I think, yeah, you'll find people going to a different gym or finding a different style of training because, yeah. And Run Club, I think that's why that's become something that's so popular is because people are looking for that. And once you find that, once you find, yes, we're all here, we're all going to suffer together, we're all going to sweat together and swear for the next hour, but then it's going to feel
Hmm.
great after and we're going to feel camaraderie, then that's great when that's there. And so I think being able to nurture and cultivate that, whether you're a gym owner, whether you're, group training, even if it's on YouTube, wherever it is, then that's really important. It's difficult as well, but it's important. But that's a difference between, when you go to a corner and there's 4 studios on every corner and the
Yeah.
one that's full and the others aren't, but they all kind of look the same. And the difference will be
Mm.
you've created a culture that people gravitate towards. So I think that also comes from the intention and the mindset behind it, which I think was really important when we spoke to you initially about like how you had
Mhm.
mindset and this culture behind your product and behind how you approached it. That and I'm not saying you're the only ones out there. Obviously, there's other people who have that as well, but like that's something that also resonates with us as well because that's important to us to think about people's why and to understand that and having people stick to those values also
Mhm.
even as
Yeah.
they grow is important. As a trend watcher,
Mhm.
formally, but still someone who has that skill, how do you feel about that sort of movement of people's values changing? Do you feel like that happens a lot when what do people call it? Call it falling off? Like they
Offer.
got rich and then they fell off. Or
Yeah.
is it like, people not, I guess, staying true to their
Starting off with one thing, like especially like entrepreneurs starting off with one product and then it merging into something else just to be able to
We talked about this
keep
just a
up
moment
with.
ago when we were
Yeah.
talking about people who have like a platform or a podcast
Yeah.
or whatever, and they're like, oh, they start out like this, and now they're sort of, you know, advocating for things that are outside of what it is they said they stood for.
Yeah, I think it's when people are trying to make a living or trying to make money, it's and you realize that your values are holding you back. It's really hard to stick to them. I think even building a business like this, it's so much harder than I thought it was going to be, and continues to be harder than I thought it was going to be, and
In terms of
challenging.
sticking to your values or just the actual setup and
Business.
Just so even if
creating.
even if you had no values, right? If you were just like, I'm going to make as much money as possible, I don't really care how or why or what the cost is. It's still hard to start your own business, right?
Yeah.
It's just hard. You have to convince people to fund it. You have to, develop the product. You have to find product market fit. You have to adapt the product. You have to market the product. You have to make sure your channels have operating margin. It's a beast even if you don't layer on. As soon as you layer on, well, I won't use this delivery method because it's
Mm.
bad for the environment, or I won't use this packaging format because it's bad for the environment.
Yeah.
You're already
Yeah,
lifted or
you're
yeah.
making it harder. And what's interesting is often your customers aren't so fast, right? So, you know, I'm we started this company because we were horrified by the plastic waste of beverage brands, but I have lots of people tell me they wished it was easier to fit the tablet in a plastic bottle beverage or what have you. And like you can snap the tablet, you can snap it like in one
Yeah.
hand. Like I've just snapped this one and then it fits in. But still, for people, they regularly tell me like, can
Works
you
for
make it?
consumer.
Yeah. They're like, can you make it smaller? And arguably, like, why wouldn't I, if I already have a bunch of people who are swapping out can and bottle beverages for the tablet, making it fit more easily in a plastic bottle isn't like I'm not going to drive people to buy more plastic bottles. So that might be an example where, okay, Max, you can chill out a little bit and you don't need to, hold such a hard boundary. But yeah, I definitely I see the founders out there, who completely changed their positioning or the science that they were advocating one year, and then they've completely changed it the next year. Like so, they said sugar was an absolutely crucial ingredient because of science. And then they saw that low sugar competition was eating their lunch. So they released a low sugar product and said, actually, you don't need the sugar for the product. It's out there. I think it's just tough. I think anybody who's listening, who's building a business that aligns with their values or is thinking about doing that, kudos to you. And buckle up. Like, often you care more than your customer, and ideally, right, in the long run, it pays off, and you have a brand that people really, I think everybody looks up to Ben and Jerry's and Patagonia, but they're at least particularly in the US, they are the exceptions to the rule in some respects, that they
Yeah.
become as big as they are while drawing a line in the sand about certain things. That's just so rare, to manage to pull that off. You have to have a phenomenal product, a great brand, and um, I have a lot more. I think when I was in the trend forecasting world, it almost seemed easy for me to take a stand on all these issues. And why aren't you taking a stand on this issue or this issue or this issue? And 5 years out of the trend game, I have a lot more respect, and I'm aware for how much harder those entrepreneurs have made lives for themselves. Like the doors they close and the avenues they don't walk down because of their values.
Have have you so you as an entrepreneur can look at another entrepreneurial start like a startup or whatever and notice when they've kind of lost their way. Do you feel like consumers pick up on that? Pick up on when a brand has lost their soul, I guess, ultimately?
Yeah, and
Eh,
I guess I wouldn't necessarily. I'm almost more sympathetic now. I wouldn't even necessarily tar someone with the brush of like they've lost their soul. But
I went the other way.
yeah, no, I mean,
Fell out.
I feel like there's enough dark forces going on in the world right now where I don't need to be too enraged by the person making the like protein smoothie and how they choose to do it. But do I think consumers? Yeah, I think unfortunately fewer consumers care than like I would have hoped. Like I think again that was sort of the wake up call leaving the trend forecasting world was we felt like consumers were holding brands to much higher standards than they actually do. And even myself, I'm a hypocrite myself. Like we Dieselgate, which was when Volkswagen was like rigging the diesel tests for emissions. That was here you go. I'm bringing it up on a German podcast. I love it, but that was shocking. Like that was so shocking. And we used to stand up on stage, and I remember we had pictures of the logo and all the rest of it, and we were like, nobody's going to trust this brand again. And when my family, I don't know if we'd had our third kid yet, but we needed a vehicle, and we got like a Volkswagen Atlas within about a year or two of Dieselgate. Like, my job was to tell people will hold your brands accountable, and you need to, they expect to live by values and all the rest of it, and they won't forgive you and all the rest of it. And then I went and got this, a Volkswagen. So
people are pretty forgiving.
yeah, I think we're all a little bit, we've got a lot to deal with. So I think the reality is that I'm always happy that there are founders out there who are building businesses based off of their social, environmental values. And there are customers out there who are really grateful for it. And it's maybe not as many people as you think, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't try. I think it's incredibly likely that the impact of our consumerism will swing back into view. Like there's certainly pockets where it never went away. Like I live in Vermont, it's still really important here, and I'm sure you guys talked about people checking your recycling bins to make sure you're recycling properly, right? Like
It's true.
I think
We don't make
yeah,
this shit up.
no, but I think it'll come back as well. So I think if you're a founder who says no, we're not packaging X in plastic, or we're not using this ingredient, or we just got non-GMO certified. Like, I think it's possible you'll also that will pay off in the long run as like it kind of comes back into vogue.
Yeah, no, I agree. And also, we are living in such a public sort of domain that it's hard to hide. So really, when you say A and then maybe 5, 6 years later you do B, someone will be like,
Yeah.
here's the footage from when
Yeah,
you actually
receipts.
said that this is, and there's always going to be someone that's going to find something because the internet never forgets.
And hold you accountable for it.
Yeah, and so I think that I mean, as again, double-edged as that might be, I think it's also a great deterrent for people thinking that they can sort of move away from things that they've said, but also makes people careful about what they say or what they stand behind. And at the same time, also, I think people, that same public that will call you out is the same public that will, for the large part, have the grace to say, okay, you know what, to err is human. And
Mhm.
if you kind of make amends or, do this, then, I mean, as much as cancel culture exists, I think we still have an element of that humanity towards one another that people will be like,
Totally.
okay, you turned it around, you tried to do right, you stood up and said sorry, went and rectified this, you said that you've learned something, so let's move on.
Also, I think the shift towards conscious consumerism, while a really positive thing, I think it's also, I think it's particularly for millennials, we maybe got a little naive about why a lot of these companies exist, and that's to sell a widget for a profit, right? And deliver that profit back to the stakeholders, and I think you also don't want to expect you don't necessarily want to expect corporations to save the world. It's, there's
Yeah,
that too.
that's
I
fair.
think
They're not gonna be the
expecting
guys that
your,
do it.
yeah, like it's expecting your granola company to fight the fight. Like I'm, I'm glad I still look for the brands that do, but I think there was also this, if we look at big tech, for example, big tech would say, hey, we're all progressive and liberal and we care about the environment and we care about diversity, equity and inclusion. And then the administration changed in the US and they were like, we're getting rid of the DEI team and we're
Let's
removing
go
all
for
of
it.
this, and it's like, yeah, actually maybe that was naive of us to believe that a social media company had human values. I don't know, we're going a little too deep here maybe.
No,
No,
I
I
think
think
it's a relevant
it's
it's a
a good
relevant conversation to have because absolutely, like it
because
is.
I would think that if you have that platform, that you do have a responsibility in
And
some way.
ideally we all do, but
Yeah,
the reality again is
we
also quite often shows us that
we have to be realistic
it's not.
also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not what
Yeah,
happens in practice
we
a
have to
lot.
do the work ourselves, which maybe brings us back full circle to why you as a founder do decide to live by your values, as you realize, some of these other businesses won't do it. So that's the reason to do it.
Yeah.
We're trying to do that as well, and we're finding that, I mean, it's easier for us because we're small. And we don't have huge endorsements being thrown at us. We don't have tiny
Not
endorsements
yet.
being thrown at us.
Not yet.
Yeah, and so it's easy, sort of, yeah, when you are small to just stick to your guns because you're not being stretched or challenged in ways that make you question that. But that's certainly something that, even with the discussion that we've just had, like we also talk about, like, well, should we even speak about our politics? Should we speak about our point of view when it
Mhm.
comes to things that are happening in the world that we, of course, very realistically live in? And and
Mhm.
so all of that is sort of already like a balancing act that we
Well, even you're already, and I would say actually it feels sometimes like, oh, it's easier to have values when you're small. It is, but it's also harder to get started when you're small, right? So you guys deserve credit because whether consciously or not, you could be using kind of rage bait or really provocative
Yeah.
content to try and drum
I
up an
could,
audience
yeah.
faster, right?
That is a really
That's a
good
really good
point.
point.
And we've actually had those discussions where we're like, well, this is something that's really like, at the forefront right now or this week. Like, should we actually dovetail on that? And
This will get a little drama, should we
yeah,
say,
yeah, should we talk? And yeah, and so yeah, well, that's thank you.
Thank you for
Yeah.
noticing that. Wow, we're like
You're living by your values.
Trying. I loved that conversation. I'm really happy that we managed to connect and just have just a really eye-opening conversation about the product, but also about your thoughts, your experience, your view on the different markets. That's really interesting, and just understanding consumerism and human behavior, integrity.
Mhm.
Really, really just, yeah, very wholesome for me. So very happy.
I guess before we wrap it up, I'd love to know if you were to zoom out 5 to 10 years from now, like where do you see or hope the wellness industry, hydration industry
Mm.
going, or what do you think it'll look like?
I think for me, like I wish people would stop looking for magic bullets, silver bullets, shortcuts, but I know I've seen enough at this point to know that that's not going to happen. So
Oh.
that's okay. I think the main thing I would hope is as it becomes a bigger part of daily life, I think making sure that the promises these products make are real and science backed, and there's greater transparency about the impact of whatever category you might look at. So I think that's kind of, we're already headed that way. I met the founder of a company, I think it's called SupsCo or something, and they have a database where they test products like for actual creatine content and things like that. Because turns out like half the brands on shelf didn't even have the active ingredient in it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I hope that we keep becoming more approachable, like as a category, the wellness category, but that at the same time, that doesn't mean that there's just more snake oil. I hope it's like science-backed, approachable wellness routines that make life easier for people. And actually, the idea that people shouldn't be looking for shortcuts is just kind of almost snobbery that, oh, you shouldn't be able to get fit without putting in the work, or you shouldn't be able to be healthy without eating like whole foods. And look, whatever it takes for people to have better health outcomes. I think we've had some real health crises through diet and nutrition, and I hope we can kind of overcome them, even if it includes shortcuts with science-backed solutions.
I think, and I think that's what you said is beautiful, and that's my hope too. And I do feel also there is like a trend among people. Like, so if we look at big pharma, big food, big, like all those big industries, like at some point, people do wake up and realize that what they've been fed this entire time isn't working for them. So they kind of learn to also filter and just kind of embrace what actually is good for them. So I would imagine that'll also happen with the wellness industry, that people really start to find what is actually working for them and maybe not rely so much on these quick fixes or these shortcuts.
There's always
Some people, I mean, the fact that fitness in itself has become such a thing and that people want to be moving more, that already, I don't know, I'm hopeful that at least then the mindset part catches up too. So it's not just about aesthetics, but that they also catch up to, okay, I'm doing this because it's good for me, because,
Agreed.
hydration is good for me, because movement is good for me, because, self-care is good for me.
Consistency will come in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then we'll think about longevity and quick fix.
Yeah.
I hope so. And I feel positive about the general direction of travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
love that.
we feel quite positive about it as well.
Yeah.
So we're hoping for the same.
Wonderful.
Well,
Thank you both so much. That was a great conversation. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for being with us today. Take care.
All right then.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed that conversation with Max Luthy. I know we had such a good time with him. We felt there's so many, commonalities between us and our views on how we see the wellness world and where it's going, and just the importance of these trends and how to kind of navigate all of them as you come across them, obviously. And we're obviously going to see more and more as we see the wellness industry getting bigger and bigger. It's already massive,
Way bigger
but
than it was.
I see it getting bigger. But as you notice, we do have positive views on where we see it going, and I'm hopeful, and I'm gonna stick to that, because
I think hopeful is good.
I think that's the only way to
cautiously hopeful. No,
this.
I think that's really good. Yeah, we are hopeful, and it was great to meet someone who's aligned with that same hope and that same sort of trajectory when it comes to integrity and staying true to your values. So that was a lovely chat. We hope you guys enjoyed it.
If you aren't following us already, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but please follow, subscribe,
Fix it.
find us on Instagram. Give us reviews on Apple and Spotify.
Also,
it really
likes help a lot.
That help us,
to
be searchable in these platforms.
The realm.
In the realm of the podcast, world. And yeah, so we will be back here again with a new episode for you, as always, next week. Till next time.